Hello, welcome to my channel Virtual Guru, and here I'm going to teach you about the last chapter in my trigonometric section. So that will be about the reciprocal of the trig ratios. Okay, so let's begin. And so here we can learn how the cosecant, secant, and cotangent are the reciprocals of the basic trigonometric ratios sine, cosine, and tangent. So let's begin. We have already learned the basic trig ratios, isn't it? So for example, if you take this as this side as C, okay, this side as A, and this side as B, and this is corner A, C, and B, then we are measuring all the sine ratios with respect to A. Let me erase and write it. Okay, this with respect to A, then we can write sine A. Okay, sine of A is equal to A by C. Okay, then sine cos of A. Okay, cos of A is equal to adjacent by hypotenuse. So adjacent is B by C. Then tan of A is equal to opposite by adjacent. We have already learned this, okay? But there are three more ratios to think about. Instead of A by C, what if we consider C by A? This is the reciprocal. Okay, we have just flipped the denominator and the numerator, and that is called as reciprocal, taking a reciprocal. And here the reciprocal is C by A. What if B by C is taken as C by B? What if A by B is taken as B by A? Okay, now these new ratios, that is C by A, C by B, and B by A, are the reciprocal of the trigonometric ratios which we already know, and we are about to learn their names. Okay, this is what we are going to do in the next section. So let's proceed. And the first ratio is the cosecant. Okay, the cosecant, I'm going to take the same example, B, A, and C, and the C, A, and B, and the respective angle is A with respect with relative angle is A, and the cosecant, okay, cosecant, it is also the sign is cosec, and cosecant is the reciprocal of sine. It is the ratio of the hypotenuse to the side opposite a given angle in a right angle triangle. So we know what is sine. Okay, sine of A, what is it? It is equal to opposite by hypotenuse, isn't it? So that is equal to A by C, but that is opposite by hypotenuse. This is the hypotenuse. Now the cosecant A will be hypotenuse by opposite. Why? Because it is the reciprocal of sine. So that will be equal to C by A. Okay, this is what the cosecant is. Let's move on to another one trigonometric ratio, the secant. Okay, it is given by SEC sec. So consider the same example, A, B, and C. This is C, this is A, and this is B. So relative to angle A, what will be the secant? The secant is the reciprocal of the cosine. It is a ratio of the hypotenuse to the side adjacent to the given angle in a right angle triangle. So what will be our cos here? Cos is nothing but adjacent to hypotenuse. Okay, adjacent to angle A will be B, then hypotenuse is C. So what will be our secant of A? Secant of A will be hypotenuse to adjacent. Hypotenuse is C, adjacent is P. So this will be our secant of A. Okay, this is what we are going to learn in this video. Next, cotangent. The cotangent, that is also given by the name cot. Okay, uh, let me draw the right angle triangle, and this will be CAB. So the cotangent is the reciprocal of the tangent, and it is the ratio of adjacent side by opposite side in a right angle triangle. That is a reciprocal of tan, isn't it? So tan A is equal to opposite of A, opposite by adjacent. So what will be our cot, that is cotangent of A? That will be adjacent to opposite. Okay, so this was A by B. So adjacent to opposite will be B by A. It is easy to remember these new ratios by relating them to their reciprocals. You might think, how do we remember them? So all you have to do is, you have to remember that cosecant is the reciprocal of sine. Okay, if you remember this, it is easy to remember. Take whatever you know. What you should know perfectly what is sine and what is cos and what is tan. Okay, perfectly means this is opposite by hypotenuse, adjacent by hypotenuse, and tan is nothing but opposite by adjacent. Next, what you have to remember is cosecant is the reciprocal of sine. Cos, this one, secant is the reciprocal of cosine, and cotangent is the reciprocal of tangent. This, if you do, it is very, very easy to remember the new three ratios. Okay, now um, now let's start with the problem. Problem number one is, we have to find for the triangle given below, find the cosecant of Q. Okay, and secant of Q and cot of Q, cotangent of Q. So how do we do that? That is by, we know that cosecant is the, first take the first question, that is we have to find the cosecant of Q. Cosecant of Q is nothing but the reciprocal of sine. Okay, sine of Q. So if sine is opposite by hypotenuse, then cosecant will be hypotenuse by opposite. So what is the hypotenuse here for angle with respect to Q? So what is the hypotenuse here? 17. What is the opposite here? 15. So this is our cosecant. Okay, it is very easy if you remember just the hypotenuse. Secant of Q. Secant is nothing but the reciprocal of cos, and we know cos is nothing but adjacent by hypotenuse. So our secant will be hypotenuse by adjacent. Hypotenuse will be the same. Adjacent will be, adjacent of Q will be 8. So secant of Q is 17 by 8. Okay, just like that we can do some other sums also. Okay, uh, moving on, finding cot of Q, that is cotangent of Q. Cotangent of Q is nothing but, it is the reciprocal of tangent. Tangent is, I have said this, tangent is nothing but opposite by adjacent. So cotangent will be adjacent by opposite. Adjacent of Q is 8 and the opposite is 15. So cotangent of Q will be 8 by 15. This is how we have to solve. This is just the initial, students. So this is how we'll proceed for this type of sums. Next, problem number 2. In this, for this triangle below, we have to find the cosecant of x. Okay, so how do we do that? cosecant, I have told you, it is the, you can just pause and try to do it on your own, then check the answer, or you can, if you have need some more practice, you can just listen to the video. And cosecant is nothing but the reciprocal of sine. Okay, but we know that the sine is opposite by hypotenuse, so cosecant will be hypotenuse by opposite. Hypotenuse, we know that it is opposite to 90 degree, that is 4, and opposite is nothing but opposite to angle x, that is 3. Okay, so 4 by 3, this is the answer. Next, moving on, problem number 3, you can just pause the video, try to solve it by yourself. Secant, whatever it is, just start trying. Once you know the mistakes, you'll come to know what are your drawbacks. Then we can practice more in that regards. Secant of W. Secant is the reciprocal of cosine. Okay, so what is cosine? Cosine is opposite by it is adjacent by hypotenuse. So adjacent by hypotenuse. So the secant will be hypotenuse by adjacent, reciprocal of cosine. Okay, so hypotenuse in this case is 37 because this is the 90 degree as you can see, and adjacent of W is that adjacent of W is 12. Okay, so 37 by 12 is the answer. Moving on to the next sum, problem number 4. For the triangle given below, find cot of R. So, what is cot? Cot is nothing but the reciprocal of tangent. Tangent is nothing but opposite by adjacent side. Then cot is reciprocal of tangent, means it will be adjacent by opposite. What is the adjacent side here? This is our R, this is 90 degree. It is not required here. Adjacent will be this and this, okay, to R. Adjacent means next to. So 25 is the hypotenuse. So obviously our adjacent side, non-hypotenuse side. So that is 24. Then opposite is 7. So this is the answer. Next, moving on to the fifth and final sum. What is the exact value of cos 45? There are two ways to approach this sum. Okay, consider the special triangle which I have already said in the part 1 of the same video. That is 45. That is in the part 1 of trigonometry of special triangles video. So 45, 45, 90. These are the three this is the special angle I am going to take, and here what I am going to do is I am going to consider this angle 45, 45 and 90. Just excuse me. 45, 45 and 90 because we have to find cosec of 45. So in this triangle I have already derived earlier, whatever the sign opposite to 45 will be x, and we have got that opposite to 90 degree will be x root 2. In this type of triangle, this case will always hold good. Okay, now one way to solve is just take what is sine of 45. Okay, that is because we know that cosec is nothing but it is reciprocal of sine. So if we know what is sine of 45, just take the reciprocal. I have already derived in my previous video that sine of 45 is 1 by root 2. So taking the reciprocal of that, here the denominator will come in the numerator, then divided by 1, that is equal to root 2. Okay, or else what you can do is, we know that sine is nothing but opposite by hypotenuse. Okay, so cosine will be whatever cosec will be that is cosecant will be 45 by cosecant will be hypotenuse by opposite. Okay, So what is our hypotenuse here? X root 2, and opposite, take any 45, you can consider anything because whatever opposite it will be x only. So x will get cancelled and what remains is root 2. Either you can do this way or this way, both will be have the same answers. So if they ask for cosecant, just follow this one method, or if it can be for secant of any 30, 45 or 60-degree angles which we have learned. So if they ask for cosine, secant and cot, just you have to follow this or this method and you will just arrive at the answer very easily. So that's all for this video, that is reciprocal of trigonometric ratios. And stay tuned for some more chapters which I'm going to do. I think this will be the end of the trigonometric chapter. I'm going to start with the linear algebra in my next videos. Please do like and subscribe, and don't forget to comment if you have any doubts. And yes, that's it. Have fun learning and thank you.